On my 64th birthday, my son Michael grabbed my cell phone and smashed it against the wall until it shattered into pieces. Then with that same ice-cold stare, he called the police and told them I had attacked him. His wife Olivia didn't just back up the lie. She stood right there and signed a false police report accusing me of assault. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just did one thing they never saw coming. 3 months later, Michael and Olivia were absolutely panicking, and my daughter-in-law was tearing through every drawer in my old house, desperately searching for documents they were never going to find. But that comes later. Let me tell you how this whole crazy thing started. My name is Emily. I'm 64 years old, and my whole life I believed that being a good mother meant sacrificing everything for your child. Boy, was I wrong. Michael showed up at my house that Saturday afternoon with Olivia and their 2 kids, 7-year-old Liam and 5-year-old Ava. It was my birthday. I had spent the entire morning cooking. The dining table was set with my grandmother's china that I only brought out for special occasions. I'd made Michael's favorite meal, the pot roast he'd loved since he was a little boy. I even bought that expensive red wine he's always bragging about. But the second he walked through my front door, I could feel the tension. Michael's jaw was clenched tight. Olivia didn't even look at me when she came in. She just plopped down on my sofa like she owned the place, scrolling through her phone while Liam and Ava ran wild through my living room. Michael, honey, could you please tell the kids to be careful? They're gonna knock over my mother's crystal vase, the one she'd given me before she died, shattered on the hardwood floor. It's just a vase, Mom, Michael snapped. Relax, just a vase? That vase was over 50 years old. It was irreplaceable. Michael, I just asked you to watch them. They're your children. Don't tell me how to raise my kids. His voice exploded so loud that even Olivia looked up from her phone. You think you know everything about parenting? You messed up raising me, and now you want to tell me what to do. The words hit me like a slap across the face. Olivia smirked from the couch. Michael, don't get worked up. She's just old and set in her ways. Old people get cranky. Old and cranky? I had just turned 64. Not 94. I was perfectly healthy, still sharp as a tack, and I definitely wasn't cranky until they showed up. Look, Mom, Michael said, lowering his voice just a little. We came here to celebrate your birthday like you wanted. So can we just eat and get this over with? Get this over with. Like my birthday was some kind of chore they had to check off their list. I swallowed the hurt and forced a smile. Okay, let's eat. Everything's ready. Dinner was awful. Michael barely touched his food. Olivia complained that the roast was too dry, even though I'd followed the recipe perfectly. The kids were throwing food at each other, while their parents just ignored them. I tried to make conversation. So, Michael, how's work going? You said you might get that promotion. Didn't happen, he cut me off, and I don't want to talk about it. Oh, I'm sorry, honey. Maybe next time. I said I don't want to talk about it. The table went silent, except for the kids giggling. After dinner, I brought out the birthday cake I'd bought, a beautiful chocolate cake from that fancy bakery downtown. It cost me $80, but I wanted something special. Michael looked at it and rolled his eyes. Mom, you know Olivia and I are doing keto. We can't eat cake. Oh, I didn't know. We told you like 3 times, Olivia said, with this super condescending tone. But you never listen. I never listen. They'd never told me once. I would have remembered. That's when things got really bad. Michael stood up from the table and started pacing around my living room. He was agitated, angry, and I could tell something was building up inside him. You know what, Mom? I'm sick of this. Sick of you always playing the victim. Sick of you guilt-tripping me into coming over here. Guilt-tripping? Michael, I just wanted to see you on my birthday. You always want something. You're always calling, always texting, always needing something. You know how exhausting that is? I felt tears stinging my eyes, but I blinked them back. I call you maybe once a week. I just want to know how you're doing. Well, maybe I don't want to talk to you every week. Maybe I got my own life. Olivia stood up and put her hand on Michael's shoulder. Babe, calm down. She's not worth getting upset over. Not worth it? I'm his mother. I raised him by myself after his father walked out on us when Michael was just 6 years old. I worked 2 jobs to keep a roof over our heads. I went without new clothes for years so I could buy him the sneakers he wanted, the video games he begged for. I helped him pay for college when he couldn't get enough financial aid, And now I wasn't worth getting upset over? You know what the problem is, Mom? Michael got right up in my face. You never let me grow up. You're always treating me like I'm still a kid. Always trying to control everything. I don't try to control you, Michael. I just care about you. No, you smother me. There's a difference. I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. Michael, I think you're being really unfair right now. I've never tried to control your life. I've always supported your choices. That's a lie, he shouted. You hated Olivia from the moment you met her. That wasn't true. I'd tried so hard to connect with Olivia. I'd invited her to lunch, sent her birthday cards, asked about her job. But she'd always been cold to me, treating me like I was some kind of annoying obstacle in her marriage. Michael, that's not fair. I've tried, you've tried nothing. You've been passive-aggressive since day one. My hands were shaking. This wasn't how my birthday was supposed to go. This wasn't how my son was supposed to treat me. And that's when I made the decision that changed everything. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. My hands were trembling, but I opened the camera app and hit record. What are you doing? Michael's eyes narrowed. I'm recording this. I want you to see how you're treating me, how you're talking to your own mother on her birthday. Michael's face turned bright red. Turn that off, now. No, you need to see this. You need to hear yourself. That's when he lunged at me. Michael ripped the phone right out of my hands and slammed it against the wall with so much force that it exploded into pieces. The screen shattered, the case cracked, and bits of glass and plastic scattered across my floor. I just stood there, frozen in shock. You don't record me. Michael was screaming now, his face twisted with rage. You crazy old woman. You think you can record me in secret? Michael, this is my house. This is my house. He roared. I pay your bills. I pay your mortgage! Without me, you'd be living on the street. That was a complete lie. I paid my own bills. I owned my house outright, paid off the mortgage 10 years ago. Michael hadn't given me a single dollar in years. Olivia stepped forward, and I thought, just for a second, that maybe she'd calm him down. But instead she joined in. Emily, you're losing it. You're acting completely unstable. Michael's right to be concerned about you. Unstable? He just destroyed my phone. Because you were secretly recording him. That's paranoid behavior. The kids were crying in the corner now, scared by all the yelling. Liam had his arms around little Ava, trying to protect her. I tried to move toward the kids to comfort them. But Michael blocked my way. Stay away from my children. Michael, they're scared. They're scared of you. You're acting like a psycho. And then he pulled out his phone and dialed 911. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. My own son was calling the police on me, on my birthday, in my own home. Yes, I need help, Michael said into the phone, his voice suddenly calm and controlled. Totally different from the screaming maniac he'd been 2 seconds ago. My mother is having some kind of episode. She's being aggressive and erratic. My wife and children are here, and we're concerned for our safety. What? No! I reached for his phone, but Olivia grabbed my wrist. Don't touch him. See, she's getting violent. I pulled my arm away from Olivia. I hadn't touched Michael. I hadn't touched anyone. Yes, please send someone quickly, Michael continued. She tried to attack me. I think she might be having a mental breakdown. She's 64, and I've noticed some concerning changes in her behavior lately. Concerning changes? What was he talking about? Michael, stop lying. I didn't attack you. He held up his hand to silence me while he finished the call. Yes, we'll wait here. Thank you. He hung up and looked at me with this cold, satisfied expression. The police are on their way, Mom. Maybe they can get you the help you need. Help? I don't need help. You're the one who destroyed my phone. You're the one who's lying. Olivia pulled out her phone and started typing. I'm documenting all of this. Her aggressive behavior. Her instability. This is going to be important later. Important for what? The next 15 minutes were the longest of my life. Michael and Olivia sat on my couch, whispering to each other, probably coordinating their story. The kids stayed huddled in the corner, confused and scared, and I stood there in my own living room, surrounded by the broken pieces of my phone, waiting for the police to arrive and arrest me for something I didn't do. When the doorbell finally rang, my heart was pounding so hard I thought it might burst out of my chest. 2 police officers stood at my door, a young woman and an older man. They looked professional, calm, ready to handle whatever domestic situation they'd been called to. "Good evening, ma'am," the female officer said. "We got a call about a disturbance?" Before I could answer, Michael rushed to the door. "Officers, thank God you're here. My mother has been acting very strange tonight. She was recording us without permission, and when I tried to stop her, she became violent." "That's not true," I said. "He grabbed my phone and smashed it." "Look." I pointed to the broken pieces still scattered on the floor. The male officer looked at the destroyed phone, then back at Michael. "Sir, did you break that phone?" "She threw it at the wall herself," Michael said without missing a beat. "She was having a fit. She's been getting worse lately, forgetting things, getting paranoid, accusing me of things that never happened." "That is a lie." My voice cracked with emotion. The female officer put a gentle hand on my arm. "Ma'am, I need you to calm down." "I am calm. They're lying about me." Olivia stepped forward with tears streaming down her face. Where did those tears come from? She'd been smirking 2 minutes ago. "Officers were really worried about her," Olivia said in this shaky, concerned voice. "We only came here for her birthday dinner, and she just snapped. She started yelling, throwing things. I'm scared for my children. I've never seen her like this. I didn't throw anything. Michael destroyed my phone." The officers exchanged a look. I could see what they were seeing. A young couple who seemed genuinely concerned, and an older woman who was getting increasingly emotional and defensive. "Ma'am," the male officer said to me, "have you been feeling okay lately? Any stress, any changes in your routine?" "I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. They're making this up." "She's been leaving the stove on," Michael added quietly, like he was reluctant to say it. "I've had to come over a few times to turn it off. And she called me last week asking where she was, like she'd gotten lost walking in her own neighborhood." None of that ever happened. Not once. He was completely making it up. "That never happened, Michael. And you know it." Olivia pulled out her phone. "I have notes here of all the incidents we've been concerned about. Changes in her behavior over the past few months. We were actually planning to talk to her doctor about getting her evaluated." The female officer took Olivia's phone and started reading. This was a setup. A complete, coordinated setup. "Officers, please," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "They're lying. This is all lies. They came to my house, destroyed my property, and now they're making up stories to..." "To what, Mom?" Michael interrupted. "What possible reason would we have to lie about you?" I opened my mouth but couldn't answer, because I didn't know. I didn't understand why my own son was doing this to me. The male officer looked at the broken phone again, then at me. "Ma'am, did you throw that phone?" "No, Michael grabbed it out of my hands and..." "She's confused," Michael said sadly. "Officer, I think she might need a psychiatric evaluation for her own safety." "A psychiatric evaluation? My own son was trying to have me committed?" "No, I'm not confused. I don't need an evaluation. I'm completely sane." The more I protested, the crazier I sounded. I could see it in the officers' faces. They were starting to believe Michael and Olivia. "Ma'am, have you been taking any medications?" the female officer asked gently. "No. I don't take any medications because I'm healthy." Olivia wiped her fake tears. "Officers, we just want her to be safe. We're not trying to get her in trouble. We just think she needs help." "I don't need help. They need to leave my house." "Emily," the male officer said, "we're going to need you to come down to the station with us, just so we can sort this all out." "What? No, this is my house. I didn't do anything wrong." "Nobody's saying you did anything wrong," the female officer said in that patronizing tone people use with children. "We just need to make sure everyone's safe tonight." Michael put his hand on my shoulder, and I jerked away from him. "Don't touch me." "See?" Michael said to the officers. "She's getting agitated again," I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry, but I knew that would only make things worse. The officers asked me to go with them to the station, but it wasn't really a question. It was an order. And as I walked out of my own house on my 64th birthday, I saw my neighbors standing on their porches and looking through their windows, watching the whole humiliating scene. Mrs. Rodriguez next door had her hand over her mouth in shock. Mr. Chen was recording on his phone. The whole block was watching Emily get taken away by the police. As I sat in the back of the police car, I looked up at my house. Through the window, I could see Michael and Olivia. And you know what they were doing? They were smiling, not worried, not upset. Smiling. That's when I knew this wasn't just about a bad day or a family argument. This was planned. This was calculated. And right then, sitting in that police car with my neighbors staring, I made a decision. I wasn't going to be the victim in this story. I was going to fight back, but not in the way they expected. At the police station, they put me in a small room with fluorescent lights that hummed and flickered. The female officer brought me a cup of water and sat down across from me with a notepad. "Emily, I'm Officer Lisa Martinez. I just want to ask you a few questions, okay?" I nodded, trying to keep my composure. My hands were still shaking. "Can you tell me what happened tonight?" "In your own words." I took a deep breath. "It was my birthday. I invited my son Michael and his family over for dinner. Everything was fine at first, but then he started yelling at me. I took out my phone to record him because I wanted him to see how he was acting, and he grabbed my phone and smashed it against the wall." Officer Martinez wrote something down. "Why did you feel the need to record him?" "Because he was screaming at me, saying horrible things. I thought if he saw himself later, he'd realize." "But you didn't ask his permission to record him." "It's my house. I didn't think I needed permission in my own home." She nodded slowly, but I could tell she wasn't fully on my side. "Your son says you've been having some memory issues. Forgetting things. Is that true?" "No, that's completely made up. I'm sharp as a tack. I remember everything." "He also mentioned finding your stove left on multiple times." "That never happened. Not once." "He's lying." Officer Martinez looked at me with this sympathetic expression that made me want to scream. She thought I was some confused old lady who didn't even know her own mind. "Emily, has your son ever been violent with you before?" Finally, a question that might actually help me. "No, but he's never treated me this way before either. Tonight it was different. He was so angry, so cold. And his wife, Olivia, she says you've been hostile toward her for years. That's not true. I've tried so hard to have a good relationship with her. I invite her to lunch, I send her gifts, I babysit the kids whenever they ask." "When was the last time you babysat?" I stopped. Actually, they hadn't let me babysit in over 6 months. Every time I offered, Olivia would say the kids were busy or they already had someone else. "It's been a while," I admitted quietly. Officer Martinez closed her notepad. "Here's what's going to happen. We're not arresting you. There's no evidence of an actual crime here. But your son is filing a report about tonight's incident, and his wife is signing a statement backing up his version of events. His version is a lie. That may be, but without witnesses or evidence, it's your word against theirs. 2 against 1, she stood up. "I'm going to recommend that you talk to someone. A therapist, maybe. Someone who can help you process what happened tonight." "I don't need a therapist. I need my son to tell the truth. Emily, I see situations like this a lot. Family conflicts, miscommunications. Sometimes as we get older, our perceptions change. Things feel more intense than they really are." I stared at her. She really believed I was just some unstable old woman overreacting to normal family drama. "Can I go home now?" "Yes, you're free to leave." I stood up, my whole body aching with exhaustion and humiliation. "Are Michael and Olivia still here?" "They left about 20 minutes ago. They took their children home." "Of course they did. They got what they wanted, an official police report making me look like the unstable one. I called a cab from the station because my phone was destroyed and I couldn't use a rideshare app. The driver didn't say much, just kept glancing at me in the rear-view mirror like I was some kind of criminal. When I got home, it was almost midnight. The house was dark and cold. The birthday cake was still sitting on the counter, candles unlit. The broken pieces of my phone were still scattered across the floor. I sat down on my couch and finally let myself cry. I cried for the son I thought I had. I cried for the years I'd sacrificed to give him a good life. I cried for the birthday that had turned into a nightmare. But somewhere deep inside that pain, something else was growing. Anger. Pure, burning anger. Because Michael and Olivia didn't know something very important about me. They thought I was just some helpless old lady with no money and no options. They had no idea about the inheritance. My sister Margaret died 5 years ago. She was 72, never married, no kids. Margaret had spent her whole life working in real estate investment in California. She was brilliant with money, made smart deals, bought properties in areas that later became super valuable. When she passed, she left everything to me. $2.3 million. I never told Michael about it. I don't really know why I kept it secret at first. Maybe some instinct told me to wait. Maybe I wanted to see if Michael would love me for who I was, not for what I could give him. I'd been living off my pension and Social Security, pretending I was just getting by. The money from Margaret sat in a private account that Michael knew nothing about. And now, sitting in my destroyed living room on my ruined birthday, I was so grateful I'd kept that secret, because that money was going to be my weapon. The next morning, I woke up with a splitting headache and a determination I hadn't felt in years. I went to the store and bought a new phone, a good one, top of the line. I wasn't going to cheap out anymore. While I was setting it up, Michael called the landline. I almost didn't answer. But curiosity got the better of me. "Hello, Mom? Oh, thank God. I was so worried about you." His voice was dripping with fake concern. "Are you okay? Did they let you go?" "Yes, Michael. They let me go because I didn't do anything wrong. Mom, about last night, I'm sorry things got so intense. But you really scared us. The way you were acting, the way I was acting? Michael, you destroyed my phone and called the cops on me." He sighed like I was a difficult child who wouldn't listen to reason. "Mom, you were recording us without permission. That's a violation of privacy. I just reacted badly. I shouldn't have broken your phone. That was wrong, an apology." He was actually apologizing. "But Mom," he continued, "I think you need to accept that you're not getting any younger. Maybe it's time to think about the future, about what happens when you can't take care of yourself anymore." There it was, the real reason for the call. "I take care of myself just fine, Michael. Do you, though? You're living in that big house all alone. What if something happens? What if you fall and can't get to the phone? Then I'll get one of those medical alert systems. Or..." His voice got softer, more persuasive. "Or you could think about moving somewhere with more support. Somewhere you'd have people around. You mean a nursing home? I mean a senior living community. They're really nice now, Mom. They have activities, social events, medical staff on site. I don't need a nursing home, Michael. I'm 64, not 94. I know. But it's something to think about. For the future, I closed my eyes. He was already planning how to get rid of me. Michael, I need to go. I have things to do. Wait, Mom, one more thing. Olivia and I were thinking, maybe we should move in with you for a little while. Just temporarily. We could help you around the house, make sure you're eating well, keeping up with things. Absolutely not. Mom, no, Michael. You're not moving into my house. We're just trying to help you. I don't need your help. Goodbye, Michael." I hung up before he could argue. My hands were shaking again, but this time it wasn't from fear or sadness. It was from rage. He wanted to move into my house, take over, push me out of my own life, over my dead body. I picked up my new phone and called someone I should have called years ago. "Anderson and Associates, how may I help you?" "I need to speak with James Anderson, please." "Tell him it's Emily Parker calling." James Anderson was the best estate lawyer in the city. He'd handled Margaret's will when she died. He knew about my inheritance, and he'd told me back then that if I ever needed anything at all, I should call him. "Emily." James's warm voice came on the line. "It's been a long time. How are you doing?" "I've been better, James. I need your help." "Of course. What's going on?" I told him everything. The birthday disaster. Michael smashing my phone. The police report. The lies. The plan to put me in a nursing home and take my house. James was silent for a moment after I finished. "Emily, I'm so sorry you're going through this. But I have to ask, does Michael know about Margaret's inheritance?" "No, I never told him." "Good. Keep it that way. That's your leverage." "I need to protect myself, James. I need to make sure he can't touch my house or my money or anything else. Come to my office tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. We'll draw up all the documents you need. A new will, a power of attorney directive, everything. We'll make sure you're completely protected." "Thank you, James." "Emily, one more thing. If Michael is willing to lie to the police about you, he's capable of worse. You need to be very careful. That night I barely slept. I kept thinking about Michael's face when he called the cops. The coldness in his eyes. The satisfaction when they took me away. When had my sweet little boy turned into this? I remembered him at age 7, crying when he accidentally stepped on a bug. At 12, bringing me flowers he'd picked from the neighbor's garden for Mother's Day. At 18, hugging me after his high school graduation and saying, "I couldn't have done this without you, Mom." Where did that kid go? The next morning, I drove to James Anderson's office in the nice part of downtown. His building was all glass and steel, with a fancy lobby and a receptionist who offered me coffee. James greeted me with a warm handshake and led me to his private office. "Okay, Emily, let's make sure you're protected." Over the next 2 hours, we went through everything. James drafted a new will that completely removed Michael as a beneficiary. Instead, my estate would go to charity, specifically organizations that helped single mothers and domestic violence survivors. We also created a power of attorney document that named James as my representative if I ever became incapacitated. Not Michael. Never Michael. "Now," James said, "let's talk about your house. You own it outright, correct?" "Yes, paid it off 10 years ago." "Good. I'm going to recommend we put it in a living trust. That way, even if something happens to you, Michael can't contest it or claim it was his." "Can he try to have me declared mentally incompetent?" James frowned. He could try. With that police report, he might have a case to petition for a competency hearing. But we can prevent that. How? We'll have you evaluated by a psychiatrist, someone who will document that you're of sound mind. We'll get it notarized, make it official. That way, if Michael tries to claim you're senile or incompetent, we have professional evidence proving otherwise. Let's do it. James made a phone call and got me an appointment with Dr. William Chen, a respected psychiatrist who did evaluations for legal cases. He can see you tomorrow afternoon. I'll send him the background information. This evaluation will be thorough, but you'll pass with flying colors. I left James's office feeling lighter than I had in days. I was finally taking control. But when I got home, I found Michael's car parked in my driveway, and worse, he was inside my house. I rushed through the front door. "Michael, what are you doing here?" He was in my kitchen going through my mail. "Hey, Mom! You gave me a key, remember? I was worried when you didn't answer your phone, so I came to check on you." I had given him a key. Years ago. For emergencies. That key was for emergencies, Michael. Not for letting yourself in whenever you want. This is an emergency. I was worried about you after our conversation yesterday. You sounded upset. Olivia emerged from my bedroom. "My bedroom, Olivia? What are you doing in my room?" She held up some papers. "Just organizing your documents, Emily. You had them all messy in your dresser. Medical records, insurance papers, all mixed up. I made you some folders. She'd been going through my personal documents. Get out of my bedroom. Both of you, get out of my house. Now." Michael put his hands up like I was being unreasonable. "Mom, we're just trying to help." "I don't want your help. Get out. See?" Michael said to Olivia. "This is what I'm talking about. The aggression. The paranoia," Olivia nodded sadly. "Emily, we're family. We're allowed to be here. We're allowed to care about you. You're not allowed to go through my private documents." "They weren't private," Olivia said calmly. "They were just sitting in your drawer. If they were private, you'd have them locked up or something. The gaslighting was unbelievable. They were making me feel crazy for being upset that they'd invaded my privacy." Michael picked up one of my bills from the counter. "Mom, your electric bill is really high. Are you leaving lights on all the time? That's another sign of memory issues." I snatched the bill from his hand. "My electric bill is none of your business." "Everything about you is our business," Michael said quietly. "Because we love you. Because we care what happens to you. If you cared about me, you wouldn't have called the cops on me on my birthday." Michael and Olivia exchanged a look. "Mom, we need to talk about that," Michael said. "Olivia and I have been discussing it, and we think you need to see a doctor. Get a full evaluation, just to make sure everything's okay up here." He tapped his temple. "There's nothing wrong with my mind." "Then prove it," Olivia said. "Get evaluated. If you're fine, the doctor will confirm it. What are you afraid of?" I almost told them I already had an appointment scheduled, but something stopped me. These two were playing a game. A long game, and I needed to play it smarter. "Fine," I said. "I'll see a doctor. But only if you leave my house right now and give me back my key." Michael smiled. "Of course, Mom, we'll leave right now. But I'm keeping the key, just in case you have another episode and we need to check on you." "Michael, it's for your own safety." They left a few minutes later, but not before Olivia gave me this pitying look that made my skin crawl. After they drove away, I went straight to my bedroom to see what they'd been looking through. My dresser drawers were completely reorganized. They'd gone through everything: medical records, old tax returns. bank statements from my regular checking account, but thank God, not the account with Margaret's money. Then I noticed something missing, my original will. The one I'd made 10 years ago that left everything to Michael. It was gone. They'd taken it. My heart started racing. What were they planning to do with that? I called James Anderson immediately. James, they broke into my house. They went through my documents, and they stole my old will. The one that names Michael as your heir? Yes, James was quiet for a second. That's actually not a problem. That will is outdated now anyway. We have your new will properly signed and notarized. Even if they try to use the old one after you, well, after you pass, the new one supersedes it. But what are they planning? My guess? They're going to use it to claim you promised them everything. They'll probably show it around to family members, friends. Maybe even try to use it to pressure you. This is insane. Emily, I need you to listen to me very carefully. Change your locks. Today. Don't let Michael keep that key. And I want you to start documenting everything. Every time he shows up unannounced. Every conversation. Every weird thing Olivia says. Write it all down. Better yet, record it if you can. Record it? But that's what got me in trouble last time. Last time you didn't tell them you were recording. This time, tell them. Say it out loud. I'm recording this conversation for my own records. They can't complain if you warn them. I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. Okay, I'll do that. And Emily? Be prepared. Michael and Olivia are escalating. This is going to get worse before it gets better. After I hung up with James, I called a locksmith. He came out that same afternoon and changed all my locks. Front door, back door, even the garage. When he left, I sat in my kitchen and made a list of everything I needed to do. Psychiatric evaluation with Dr. Chen. Tomorrow, document everything Michael and Olivia. Do figure out what their endgame is. Protect myself number 4 was the most important. That night, Michael called my landline again. Hey Mom, just checking in. How are you feeling? I'm fine, Michael. Listen, Olivia and I were talking. We want to take you to dinner this weekend. A nice place. Our treat. To make up for the birthday disaster. A nice gesture. From Michael and Olivia? No way. This was a trap. What's the catch, Michael? No catch! We just want to spend time with you. Show you we care. I'll think about it. Mom, come on. Don't be like that. We're trying here. I said I'll think about it. I hung up before he could guilt-trip me into saying yes. What were they planning? The next afternoon, I sat in Dr. William Chen's office for my psychiatric evaluation. His office was calm and professional. Leather chairs, diplomas on the wall, a bookshelf full of medical texts. Dr. Chen was maybe 55, with kind eyes and a gentle manner that immediately put me at ease. Emily, I understand you're here for a competency evaluation. Can you tell me why you felt this was necessary? I told him everything. And I mean everything. The whole story poured out of me. Michael's behavior. The smashed phone, the police report, Olivia going through my documents, the stolen will. Dr. Chen listened without interrupting, taking notes occasionally. When I finished, he asked, "And how does all of this make you feel?" Angry, betrayed, but also determined. I'm not going to let them steamroll me. Do you ever feel confused? Forgetful? Disoriented? No, never. I remember everything. Sometimes I wish I could forget, but my memory's sharp. For the next hour, Dr. Chen put me through a series of cognitive tests, memory exercises, problem-solving questions, pattern recognition, math problems. I nailed every single one. Emily, Dr. Chen said when we finished, you are absolutely, without question, of sound mind. Your cognitive function is excellent. Your memory is better than most people half your age. There is zero evidence of dementia, confusion, or any mental impairment whatsoever. I felt tears of relief spring to my eyes. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to write a very detailed report documenting your mental competency. This will be dated, notarized, and legally binding. If anyone tries to claim you're not capable of making your own decisions, this report will shut that down immediately. Can I get copies? Absolutely. I'll send one to your lawyer, and I'll give you 3 certified copies to keep. As I left Dr. Chen's office, I felt powerful, vindicated. They could call me crazy all they wanted, but now I had professional proof that I wasn't. But when I got home, there was a car I didn't recognize parked in front of my house. A fancy black Mercedes, a woman in an expensive business suit was standing on my porch, holding a clipboard. "Can I help you?" I asked as I walked up. She smiled brightly. "Are you Emily Parker?" "Yes." "Wonderful. My name is Sophia Williams. I'm from Meadowbrook Senior Living Community. Your son Michael asked me to stop by and talk to you about our facilities." My blood ran cold. "Michael called you?" "Yes." "He's such a caring son. He told me all about your situation and thought you might be interested in learning about our community. We have beautiful apartments, chef-prepared meals, activities every day." "I'm not interested." Her smile didn't waver. "I completely understand. It's a big decision. But maybe I could just show you some brochures. We have a wonderful reputation, and our residents are so happy." I said I'm not interested. "Please leave." "Mrs. Parker, I really think if you just looked at what we offer—" "Leave, now, or I'm calling the police." That finally got through to her. Her smile dropped, and she backed toward her car. "Well, if you change your mind, here's my card." She left it on my porch railing and drove away. I picked up the card and looked at it. Meadowbrook Senior Living Community, starting at $4,500 per month. Michael was shopping around for nursing homes, actually calling places and sending salespeople to my door. I was shaking with rage as I went inside and immediately called him. He answered on the first ring. "Hey, Mom, how are you?" "Don't you hey mom me. You sent a nursing home salesperson to my house?" "What? Oh, you mean Sophia?" "Yeah, I just thought you might want to hear about some options." "No pressure. I don't want options, Michael. I want you to stop planning my future without my permission." "Mom, I'm just trying to help you think ahead." "No, you're trying to get rid of me. Just admit it." There was a pause. Then Michael's voice changed, got colder. "You know what, Mom? Maybe I am. Because I'm tired. Tired of worrying about you. Tired of getting calls from neighbors saying you're acting weird." "What neighbors?" "Nobody's called you." "Tired of wondering when you're gonna fall and break a hip or leave the stove on and burn the house down." "That has never happened." "You're living in denial. You can't take care of yourself anymore. And the sooner you accept that, the better off we'll all be." "We'll all be better off? Or you'll be better off when you sell my house and take my money?" Silence. Then, "What money, Mom?" "You're broke. You live on Social Security. You got nothing." I almost told him right then. Almost screamed about Margaret's inheritance just to see his reaction. But something stopped me. Let him think I'm broke. Let him think I'm helpless. "Goodbye, Michael." "Mom, wait." I hung up. My hands were trembling so bad I had to sit down. I pulled out my new phone and started typing everything into a notes app, just like James told me to. Date, time, what Michael said, what the nursing home lady said. Everything documented. Over the next 2 weeks, things escalated fast. Michael and Olivia started showing up at my house constantly, always with some excuse. They were just in the neighborhood. They wanted to check on me. They brought me groceries that I didn't need. Each time they came, they'd do something new to invade my space. Olivia reorganized my kitchen cabinets to make things easier for you to reach. Michael went through my garage and threw out things he claimed were junk, including tools that had belonged to my late father. They brought the kids over and let them run wild. Then got mad at me when I asked them to be careful with my things. "They're just kids, Mom. Stop being so uptight," Michael would say. One afternoon, I came home from grocery shopping to find them in my house again. Michael had somehow gotten another key made before I changed the locks. "How did you get in here?" Michael held up a key. "You gave this to me, remember?" "No, I didn't. I changed the locks." "Mom, you're forgetting again. You gave me this key last week." That was a complete lie. But he said it so confidently that for just a second, I doubted myself. No, I knew what was real. He was messing with my head. "Get out. Both of you." "We're not going anywhere," Olivia said from my couch. "Michael and I have been talking, and we've decided we need to stay here for a while. To keep an eye on you, you're not staying here." "Mom, it's not up for discussion," Michael said. "You clearly can't be trusted alone. What if something happens?" "Nothing's gonna happen. Get out of my house." "It's my house too," Michael said quietly. "I'm your heir. This will all be mine someday. I'm just getting a head start. The audacity. The absolute nerve. This is my house. I paid for it. My name is on the deed. Mine, not yours. And you're not staying here." Michael stepped closer to me, and for the first time, I felt genuinely scared of my own son. Mom, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. The easy way is you accept our help and let us move in to take care of you. The hard way is we petition the court to have you declared incompetent, and a judge assigns us guardianship. Either way, we're getting what we need. You can't do that. I have a psychiatric evaluation that proves I'm competent. Michael's eyes widened slightly. What? I saw Dr. William Chen. He evaluated me. I'm completely mentally sound, and I have the legal documents to prove it. Olivia stood up from the couch, her face flushed. You went behind our backs to see a psychiatrist? I don't need your permission to see a doctor. What else are you doing behind our backs? Michael demanded. I didn't answer. Mom, what else have you done? That's none of your business. Michael pulled out his phone. Fine. You want to play it like this? I'm calling Adult Protective Services. I'm reporting that you're living in unsafe conditions and refusing help from family. This house is perfectly safe. Is it? Olivia walked over to my kitchen sink and ran her finger along the edge. When's the last time you really deep cleaned this kitchen? There's grime here, Emily. That's unsanitary. There's a little dirt on the sink. That doesn't mean... Michael was already talking to someone on the phone. Yes, I'd like to report a concern about my elderly mother. She's living alone, refusing help, and I'm worried she's not maintaining her home properly. I couldn't believe this was happening. He was actually calling APS on me. When he hung up, he looked satisfied. They're sending someone out to do a home inspection within the next few days. If they find that you're not capable of maintaining this house, they can recommend intervention. My house is clean. We'll see what they say. After they finally left, I immediately called James Anderson. They're escalating, I told him. Michael called Adult Protective Services. They're coming to inspect my house. Okay, don't panic. When are they coming? Within the next few days. Here's what you're gonna do. Clean your house top to bottom. Make it spotless. Get rid of any clutter. Make sure all your appliances work. Stock your fridge with fresh food. When the APS worker comes, be polite, be cooperative. Show them the psychiatric evaluation from Dr. Chen. Will that be enough? Emily, you're a competent adult living independently in your own home. Unless they find serious safety hazards or evidence of self-neglect, they can't do anything. And Michael knows that. He's just trying to scare you. It's working. Don't let it. You're stronger than he thinks you are. For the next 2 days, I cleaned my house like my life depended on it. Because maybe it did. I scrubbed every surface. I organized every closet. I threw out expired food and restocked with fresh groceries. I fixed a leaky faucet I'd been meaning to get to. I even washed the windows. By the time I was done, my house looked better than it had in years. The APS worker showed up on a Thursday morning. Her name was Angela, and she was a tired-looking woman in her 40s with kind eyes, Mrs. Parker. I'm Angela Torres from Adult Protective Services. Your son called with some concerns about your living situation. May I come in? Of course, I gave her a full tour. She checked the kitchen, the bathrooms, my bedroom, even the garage. She looked in my fridge, tested the smoke detectors, checked for tripping hazards. Mrs. Parker, your home is in excellent condition, very clean and well-maintained. Thank you. Your son mentioned some concerns about your mental health. Have you had any medical evaluations recently? I handed her a copy of Dr. Chen's report. Angela read it carefully. This is very thorough and recent. Dr. Chen has an excellent reputation. So, I'm okay? Angela smiled. Mrs. Parker, you're more than okay. You're doing great. There's absolutely no reason for APS involvement here. You're clearly capable of living independently. I felt like crying with relief. However, Angela continued, I do want to ask, is everything all right between you and your son? These false reports, the exaggerated concerns, sometimes family members do this when they're trying to gain control over an elderly relative's assets. That's exactly what's happening. Angela nodded slowly. I suspected as much. Mrs. Parker, I'm going to document in my report that you are fully capable and that the concerns reported were unfounded. I'm also going to note that this appears to be a family conflict rather than a legitimate care issue. If your son calls again with similar reports, it'll be on record that he's made false claims. Thank you so much. After Angela left, I felt victorious. Every move Michael and Olivia made, I was countering. They couldn't get me declared incompetent. They couldn't claim the house was unsafe. They were running out of options, but I underestimated how desperate they were. That weekend, Michael invited me to dinner at a fancy restaurant downtown. He was insistent about it. Mom, please, let's just have a nice dinner. No drama, no fighting. Just family time. Olivia and I really want to make things right with you. Every instinct told me it was a trap, but I was curious. What were they planning now? Fine, but I'm driving myself and I'm leaving whenever I want. Of course. Mom, whatever makes you comfortable. The restaurant was called the Riverside Inn. Expensive. Fancy. The kind of place Michael could barely afford, which made me even more suspicious. Why was he spending money he didn't have? I arrived right on time and found Michael and Olivia already seated at a corner table. They were dressed up, smiling, looking like the perfect couple. Mom, you look beautiful. Michael stood up and actually hugged me. I sat down cautiously. What's this all about, Michael? Can't a son just take his mother to dinner? Not when that son has been terrorizing her for weeks. Olivia laughed like I'd made a joke. Emily, we really do want to bury the hatchet. We've been awful to you and we know it. We want to start fresh. The waiter came and took our orders. Michael ordered an expensive bottle of wine. Mom, we've been doing a lot of thinking, Michael began once the waiter left. And you're right. We've been pushing too hard, trying to control things that aren't our business. Okay, we just worry about you. But we realize we've been going about it all wrong. Olivia reached across the table and touched my hand. We love you, Emily. You're family. And family should support each other, not fight. This was weird. Really weird. They were being too nice. The wine arrived and Michael poured glasses for all of us. A toast, he said, raising his glass. To family, to new beginnings, to letting go of the past. I raised my glass but barely sipped. Something felt wrong. Throughout dinner, Michael and Olivia kept up the charm offensive, asking about my life, telling funny stories, laughing at my jokes. It was like having the old Michael back, the one who used to care about me. But I couldn't shake the feeling that this was all an act. Halfway through the meal, Michael leaned back in his chair. So, Mom, we wanted to talk to you about something. A business opportunity. There it was. The real reason for this dinner? What kind of business opportunity? Well, Olivia and I have been looking at investment properties. Real estate. And we found this amazing opportunity. A duplex in a great neighborhood. We could live in one unit and rent out the other. That sounds nice for you. The thing is, we're a little short on the down payment. We need about $50,000. I almost laughed. There it was. They wanted money. And you're telling me this because we were hoping you could lend it to us. It would be a loan, Mom. We'd pay you back with interest. It's a solid investment. I don't have $50,000, Michael. Are you sure? What about savings? Retirement accounts? I'm on a fixed income. I have enough to cover my bills and that's it. Michael's smile tightened. Come on, Mom. You must have something saved. What about Aunt Margaret's inheritance? My heart stopped. What inheritance? Margaret didn't leave me anything except some old furniture. Are you sure about that? Olivia asked, her voice sharp now. Because we did some digging. We found out Margaret died with a pretty substantial estate. How did you? Public records, Mom, Michael said. Aunt Margaret's will was filed with the probate court. It's all public information. And according to those records, she left everything to you. $2.3 million. The air went out of my lungs. They knew. So when you say you don't have any money, Michael continued, his voice getting harder, that's a lie. You have over $2 million. And you've been hiding it from me. It's my money, Michael. From my sister. It has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with me? Michael's voice rose, and people at other tables started looking over. I'm your son. You're gonna die someday, and all that money should come to me. But instead, you're hoarding it like some greedy old... Michael! Olivia warned, putting a hand on his arm. He took a breath and lowered his voice. Mom, I'm your only child. That money should be for family, for your grandchildren, for the people who actually care about you. If you cared about me, you wouldn't have smashed my phone, called the cops, tried to put me in a nursing home. We did that because we were desperate, Michael hissed. We're drowning in debt, Mom. We're about to lose everything, and you're sitting on millions of dollars doing nothing with it. That's not my problem, Olivia leaned forward. Emily, if you don't help us, we're going to lose our apartment. The bank's going to repossess our car. We might have to pull the kids out of their school. Is that what you want? What I want is for you to take responsibility for your own lives." Michael slammed his hand on the table, making the silverware jump. "You're unbelievable. After everything I've done for you—" "What have you done for me, Michael? Tell me." "One thing you've done for me in the past 5 years." He opened his mouth but couldn't answer. "That's what I thought." I stood up. "Thank you for dinner, but I'm leaving." "Mom, sit down." "We're not done talking." "Yes, we are." I walked out of that restaurant with my head high, leaving them sitting there in stunned silence. But as I drove home, my hands were shaking on the steering wheel. They knew about the money. They knew I'd been hiding it, and they weren't going to stop until they got their hands on it. This was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. The next morning, I woke up to my doorbell ringing non-stop. When I looked through the peephole, I saw Michael, Olivia, and their 2 kids standing on my porch. They had suitcases. I opened the door but kept the chain lock on. "What do you want?" "We got evicted," Michael said flatly. "We have nowhere else to go. You have to let us stay here." "No, I don't." "Mom, your grandchildren are going to be homeless." "Look at them." He pointed to Liam and Ava, who were both crying on cue. My heart ached seeing those kids used as pawns. But I couldn't let them manipulate me. "Michael, there are shelters. There are programs. You have options. We're not going to a shelter. We're family. You have a 3-bedroom house and millions of dollars. You can help us. I can." "But I won't." Olivia's face twisted with rage. "You selfish witch. What kind of grandmother turns away her own grandchildren? The kind whose son destroyed her phone, filed false police reports, and tried to steal her house. We wouldn't have had to do any of that if you'd just been reasonable from the start." Michael shouted. "Reasonable? You wanted to lock me in a nursing home because you're a stubborn old woman who doesn't know what's good for her." I stared at my son, this man I'd raised, sacrificed everything for, and I felt nothing but pity. "Goodbye, Michael." I closed the door. They pounded on it for 10 more minutes, yelling threats and insults. Then finally, they left. I immediately called James Anderson. They showed up demanding to move in. "They're completely desperate now." "Good," James said. "Desperate people make mistakes." "Just hold strong, Emily. I'm trying." "But seeing those kids have 2 parents who need to figure their lives out. You didn't create this situation." They did, he was right. But it still hurt. Over the next week, Michael tried everything. He called me 20 times a day. He sent emails begging for money. He even had little Liam call me crying, asking why Grandma didn't love them anymore. Each attempt broke my heart a little more. But I stood firm. Then one afternoon, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. "Hello? Emily Parker? This is Detective Sarah Martinez from the Fraud Division. I need to ask you some questions about your son, Michael Parker." My blood ran cold. "What about him?" "We've received a report that he may have attempted to forge your signature on some financial documents, specifically a power of attorney form and a will." "Do you know anything about that?" "The stolen will. He'd actually tried to use it. I didn't sign any power of attorney. And yes, he stole an old will from my house a few weeks ago. Can you come down to the station? We need an official statement." An hour later, I was sitting in an interrogation room telling Detective Martinez everything. The birthday incident, the stolen will, the attempts to have me declared incompetent, all of it. "Mrs. Parker, this is elder abuse, financial exploitation, and the forged power of attorney is fraud. These are serious crimes. What happens now?" "We're going to bring your son in for questioning. If the evidence supports what you're telling me, and it sounds like it will, we'll file charges. I don't want to send my son to jail." Detective Martinez looked at me with kind but firm eyes. "Mrs. Parker, if you don't stop him now, he won't stop. He'll keep trying to take advantage of you. People like this don't quit until they face real consequences." She was right. I knew she was right. "Okay, do what you need to do." 2 days later, Michael was arrested for attempted fraud and elder abuse. The police found the forged power of attorney documents on his computer. He'd literally copy-pasted my signature from an old birthday card and put it on legal forms. Olivia wasn't charged, but the investigation revealed she'd been the one who planned most of it. She was the brains behind the operation. James called me the day after Michael's arrest. "Emily, I have news. Michael's asking if you'll drop the charges. He says he'll leave you alone forever if you just let this go." What do you think I should do? That's not my decision. But I will say this. If you drop the charges, he learns he can get away with it. If you follow through, maybe he finally learns his actions have consequences. I thought about it for a long time. This was my son, my only child. The boy I'd raised and loved and sacrificed everything for. But that boy was gone. In his place was a man who saw me as nothing more than a bank account. I'm not dropping the charges. Michael pled guilty as part of a plea deal. He got 2 years probation, community service, and a restraining order keeping him at least 500 feet away from me. The day the sentence came down, I sat in my living room and cried. Not because I felt guilty, I didn't. I cried because I was grieving the son I thought I had, the relationship I thought we had. But when the tears stopped, I felt something else. Freedom. For the first time in decades, I was completely, totally free. I sold my old house, the one filled with bad memories, and bought a beautiful cottage near the beach 2 hours away. New city, new start, new life. I joined a book club and made friends with women my age who actually appreciated me. I took painting classes and discovered I was pretty good at it. I traveled to Italy, something I'd always dreamed of doing. I donated $250,000 to organizations that helped single mothers and domestic violence survivors. Women like I used to be, and I lived. Really, truly lived. 6 months after I moved, I got a letter in the mail. It was from Michael. The handwriting was shaky, and there were tear stains on the paper. Dear Mom, I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even expect you to read this. But I need to say it anyway. I was a monster. Everything you said about me was true. I used you. I manipulated you. I tried to steal from you. And worst of all, I convinced myself I was justified because I was desperate. But that's not an excuse. Nothing excuses what I did to you. Olivia left me. She said I was a loser and she wanted nothing to do with me. Turns out she was only with me because she thought we'd inherit your money someday. When that fell through, she was gone. I lost my wife, my home, my dignity. But the worst thing I lost was you. I got a job at a warehouse. It doesn't pay much, but it's honest work. The kids and I are living in a small apartment. I'm learning how to actually be a father instead of just a guy who yells at his kids. I'm in therapy, trying to figure out why I turned into the person I became. The therapist says I have narcissistic tendencies and a sense of entitlement. She's right. I don't know if you'll ever want to see me again. I don't know if I deserve it. But I want you to know that I'm genuinely sorry. Not sorry I got caught. Sorry for what I did. For who I was. I hope you're happy, Mom. I hope you're living the life you always deserved. I love you. I know I have a terrible way of showing it, but I do. Michael, I read that letter 3 times. Part of me wanted to crumple it up and throw it away. Part of me wanted to call him and scream. But another part, a small, quiet part, wondered if maybe, just maybe, he was actually changing. I didn't respond right away. I waited. I wanted to see if this was real or just another manipulation. A month later, another letter came. Then another. Each one was similar. Updates on his life, apologies for his behavior, no requests for money or favors. Just communication. After the 5th letter, I wrote back, Michael, I received your letters. I appreciate your apologies, but apologies are just words. Change is action. If you truly want to be a better person, keep doing what you're doing. Be a good father. Work hard. Stay in therapy. Not because you want something from me, but because it's the right thing to do. I'm not ready to see you yet. Maybe someday, but not now. I hope you understand. Mom, a year passed. Michael kept writing. Short letters, nothing dramatic. Updates about the kids. Liam made the soccer team. Ava learned to read. He got promoted at work. He was taking parenting classes. I kept the letters in a box but still didn't visit. Then one afternoon, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Is this Emily Parker? Yes? This is Nurse Rebecca from St. Mary's Hospital. I'm calling about your son, Michael. He's been in an accident. My heart stopped. What happened? Car accident. He's stable, but he's asking for you. He said he understands if you don't want to come, but he wanted you to know. I sat there with the phone in my hand, thinking about all the reasons I shouldn't go. All the hurt, all the betrayal, but he was still my son. I drove the 2 hours to the hospital. When I walked into his room, Michael looked so small in that hospital bed. His leg was in a cast, his face was bruised, but his eyes lit up when he saw me. "Mom, you came. Don't make a big thing out of it." "I won't. Thank you." Liam and Ava were there too, being watched by a nurse in the waiting room. When they saw me, they ran over. "Grandma!" I hugged them, and something inside me melted. These kids hadn't done anything wrong. They were just caught in the middle. Over the next few days, I visited Michael in the hospital. We really talked, for the first time in years. He told me about his therapy, about the things he was learning about himself, about how hitting rock bottom was the best thing that ever happened to him. "I had to lose everything to realize what actually mattered," he said. "I'm so sorry it took me this long." "I'm sorry too. Sorry I didn't set boundaries sooner. Sorry I enabled your behavior by always bailing you out. You were being a good mom." "No, a good mom teaches her kids to stand on their own. I failed you in that way." We both had things to work on. When Michael got out of the hospital, I didn't invite him to live with me. I didn't give him money. But I did something else. I spent time with my grandkids. I took them to the beach, to museums, to the park. I showed them that family doesn't mean using each other. It means supporting each other. And slowly, over months and then years, Michael and I rebuilt our relationship. It wasn't the same as before. It was better, because it was based on respect, not obligation. Michael never became rich. He stayed at his warehouse job, raised his kids in that small apartment, and learned to be happy with a simple life. And me? I lived in my beach cottage, painted terrible paintings, traveled the world, and finally put myself first. On my 70th birthday, Michael and the kids came to visit. He brought flowers and a card that said, "Thank you for loving me enough to let me fall, and for being there when I was ready to stand back up." We had cake on my deck, overlooking the ocean. Liam and Ava ran on the beach. Michael and I sat in comfortable silence, watching the sunset. "I'm proud of you," I told him. "I'm proud of you too, Mom. You're the strongest person I know." I smiled, because I finally believed it. I spent 64 years being the person everyone needed me to be, and then I spent the rest of my life being the person I needed to be. And let me tell you, that made all the difference. Some people say blood is thicker than water. But I learned that respect is thicker than blood. Love without respect is just manipulation with a prettier name. I'm 70 now, and I've never been happier. I have a son who finally appreciates me. I have grandkids who know what healthy boundaries look like. I have friends who value me. And most importantly, I have myself. The money from Aunt Margaret? I'm using it to actually live, to travel, to create, to help others, to enjoy every single day I have left. Because at the end of the day, the best revenge isn't getting even. It's living so well that you forget why you wanted revenge in the first place. The end, that's the complete 8,000-word story. Emily stood up for herself. Her son faced real consequences, and through genuine change and time, they found a new, healthier relationship. But most importantly, Emily found herself and created the happy, fulfilling life she always deserved. A truly satisfying ending where everyone learned and grew, and Emily got her happy ever after.